Welcome back to Talking Europe. It's not every day that both the Kremlin and its fiercest critics are united in outrage at the European Union. That's precisely, however, what happened last month after the EU banned Russian citizens from bringing their personal vehicles and other belongings into the European Union. Now, it's not just about cars. The Moscow Times reported that the ban appeared to sweep up in its net goods ranging from smartphones and laptops to everyday necessities like toothpaste and even toilet paper. Now, Russia's foreign ministry slammed the measure as, quote, racist. And anti-Putin activists say it could actually end up hurting Russian opponents of the war and adding fuel to the Kremlin's propaganda. The whole thing, as you can imagine, is raising questions about whether sanctions against Russia can sometimes, and I say sometimes, go too far. It's a big question. I have two guests with me today, both of them European deputies. Ermis Payet, you are an Estonian MEP for Renew Europe. You're also a former foreign minister of Estonia. And on my left, on your right, is Stelios Kouloglou. I know I didn't say that right. I apologize.
Right.
You are a Greek MEP, and you are from the left group in Parliament. I think the left group of the left. So welcome. Listen, I want to start with you, Mr. Payet, because this ban on Russian vehicles, your country, Estonia, recently joined your fellow Baltic neighbors, Latvia and Lithuania, in blocking cars with Russian license plates from crossing the border from Russia into Estonia. When you heard about these new sanctions, what was your initial reaction? Did you see are they logical? What's the reason for banning Russian cars from coming in to Estonia?
Yeah, first, this is not national sanction of Estonia or Latvia or Lithuania, but this is the European Union sanction decided all together. And we should not forget why we have all these sanctions against Russia. This is that Russia still having aggression against Ukraine. People in Ukraine are dying every day because of Russian actions. So that it's obvious that also Russian society has to feel that this war, this aggression against Ukraine has its cost. Because it's also wrong to say that the war against Ukraine is only Putin's war. It's not the case, because big part of Russian society is supporting Putin in this aggression.
But a lot of the people in these cars might not be Putin supporters. A lot of them might be anti-Putin trying to leave Russia.
Well, we also should look at the fact that actually there are already clear limits who at all can travel to the EU from Russia with Russian passport. And people with humanitarian, reasons, for example, can travel, but not just, for shopping or tourism, they cannot. And there is also, public transportation is available.
Right.
There are buses, for example, from Estonia to Russia and back, so that there is no necessity to travel with your own personal car with Russian number plates in Estonia or all around Europe. So that in this sense, the aggressor country has also to have clear consequences. And this is one of those.
I understand that, but Stelios, let me ask you. The jailed critic of the Kremlin, Alexei Navalny, he issued a statement after these sanctions, this ban, and he said that this is going to hurt the people who are most opposed to Vladimir Putin. And it's going to help Russia's propaganda because Russia will be able to say, look, everyone hates Russians. What do you say to that, to Navalny and others?
I think these kind of sanctions you mentioned in the beginning, in the introduction, are ridiculous. They're not working at all. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
They are not working at all. They are going probably more against the pro-European, anti-Putin fraction of the population. And it's a signal that the European Union cannot find a solution to the Ukrainian war. Morally, the sanctions in the beginning were morally justified because we have a barbaric invasion of a dictator. But after the question comes if the sanctions are working. And now the answer is clear, they are not working. So, but they don't
sanctions
know.
In general. Sanctions in general are not
generally
working.
sanctions, they more helped Putin to promote nationalism, to justify, the misery of the people, the austerity measure, the lack of products, etc., saying I'm not responsible for that. The enemy is responsible for that, and also because of has to do with the traveling. They are traveling more the opponents, the people they want to go out to take a fresh air. I cannot see the reason why Russians can take the bus, go to Estonia, they cannot take their cars. It's surrealistic, It's just punishing the people because it's true, as my colleague said, that most of the people, they support Putin. But we cannot punish them for that, We have to find other ways to attract them to the democracy and the peace,
Is this, I want to ask you, is this just about sort of more sanctions to punish Russia, or is there an economic logic in this? I think in the original regulation, it said that vehicles are expensive items, expensive personal goods, which could be sold and help Putin to finance the war. Do you accept that argument? Does that sound logical to you?
Well, it might be there that somebody also sells its car. It may be the case. But I guess we also should not underestimate this clear signal still also to the Russian society that you cannot make the face that you are not guilty, that Russia is killing people in Ukraine. Because Putin cannot be the president of Russia without public support. Although, yes, it's an authoritarian regime, but still, without massive support also from the society, you cannot conduct this war. And in this sense, we also cannot say that, well, all, for example, Russians who are traveling by car, that they are all anti-Putin or they are all anti-war against Ukraine.
So they pay the price. They have to pay the price for the broader policy.
Because Putin cannot be president and implement this kind of policy without large still support from the society.
Let me ask you this. There was a woman, you might have both heard of her. She was a Russian journalist, worked in TV, Marina Ovsyannikova. She's the one who held up an anti-war poster in the middle of the state-controlled evening news broadcast. She's now in exile in France. And she wrote, and I wrote it down here, she tweeted, or telegrammed, she wrote, "It will only serve Putin's advantage. Russians will rally even stronger around the dictator. This decision in the EU was clearly made by officials, not politicians." Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It happens all the time. We had the same dilemma with the dictator Milosevic at the time of the war. Milosevic
Yeah.
of Yugoslavia.
Yes, Slobodan Milosevic.
And then Serbia, imposing sanctions or not. We have the same dilemma with Erdogan, punishing Turkey or not. Dictators have more means to control the people. It's not just like they are voting and how do we know really that if the people were really informed, they would support Putin? We don't know because Putin is controlling the information. Putin is controlling the society. So, to punish the people because they are victims of the dictatorship, it goes nowhere.
Makes no sense.
To my analysis.
But if I may add, we also emotionally should protect our own societies. Because I guess that majority, for example, people in Estonia, we don't want to see on our streets Russian number plates when Russia, the same country with the same...
even if they hate Putin?
With the same heraldics, they are killing people in Ukraine. I guess during Second World War, I guess majority of people in Europe, they also didn't want to see on their streets number plates with Nazi swastika.
But this is racism. This is racism.
This is not racism.
Of course it's racism.
And it's funny, but he used the word racism. That's exactly what the Russian foreign ministry said.
It's not the racism. Russian foreign ministry should stop killing innocent people in Ukraine and then to speak out. We should listen much less what all those Russian war criminals are telling to the world. They should first stop the killing people in Ukraine and then we're ready to talk about. In this sense, I don't understand why there is so much sympathy towards all those issues that you mentioned, but there is less and less sympathy towards Ukrainian people.
Right, no, I don't think that was the issue. I think the issue I'm asking is whether or not too many people are being punished, including those who hate Putin. That's the question
But
here.
you cannot make this separation, because still the case is that Russia as country, as society, is attacking and killing people, children in Ukraine. And Putin cannot be the president without large support from the society.
Let me ask you a final question, because we're running out of time. Right now, these sanctions were explained in what's called an explanatory note to all of the sanctions. So it was a technocrat who wrote this. Would you like to see more clarity in these sanctions, or do you think they should stand as they are? Very briefly, each of you. Do you think they should be maybe modified or changed?
Absolutely. No, they should be think the whole idea of the war. We have to find a solution for peace, respecting the sovereignty of Ukraine. As long as this war is continuing, there is no way out. And this has to be discussed seriously.
Okay, and these specific sanctions, these bans on Russian cars, should they change it? Should they explain it better?
Yes, absolutely.
And Mr. Payet,
Well, I guess, yes.
Final word.
No, I think that, yes, the explanation is needed, because still there are lots of people who don't understand what exactly is under sanctions and what's not. It means that, yes. But in overall picture, I guess what is the biggest problem at the moment is that the back doors for Russia are still open. It means that even the goods or services are under sanctions through third countries. The accessibility is still there. So that I guess European Union and others, we also should much more work with the third countries to close the back doors for Russia.
I don't think we are going to resolve this issue today. I think that it is safe to say, as we said at the beginning, that Vladimir Putin is successfully finding ways around these sanctions, as a lot of reports are finding. I'd like to thank both of you for being here. Perhaps we will get more clarity, whoever wrote these sanctions, in the next days and weeks on exactly who's involved, what goods are involved, and whether or not they are going to stand this regulation as it is written now. Thanks to all of you for watching us here today on Talking Europe, live from Brussels.